In this lecture, we're setting up our rotation input binding so that when we push right on the keyboard, it gives us a value of 1, and left on the keyboard, it gives us a value of -1. Let's get started. We're doing some things for the second time with some variation for the rotation. I say the second time because we've already set up thrusting in terms of our movement script and binding a value for thrust. We're going to do the same now for rotation. So see if you can follow along at somewhat the same pace as I'm going. Maybe even try to jump ahead if you're like, oh, I know what we're doing here. So the first thing we need to do is create a variable that is of type input action for rotation. So up the top of our script, underneath where we've got thrust, I'm going to use serialized field, create input action, and we'll call this rotation, semicolon. What do we need to do next to make sure that rotation is actually working and we're able to do it? I'm trying to give you a hint there without using the word enabled. Down here under on enable, not just thrust enable, but also what? Rotation.enabled. Enable, sorry. Oh, I keep saying enabled because there is actually an enabled, but enable is what we want, the action of saying it's been enabled. Because it's enable. Anyway, without the D is what I'm saying here on the end of enable. What do we need to do next in terms of having our bindings work? Well, I'm going to save, head over to Unity. Where are we looking? We're looking on the player rocket. Underneath our movement script, we should now see any second now. Boop. There it is, rotation. We've got this additional variable here. We're going to click the plus next to it. This time, instead of doing an add binding, rotation's not going to be one button, it's going to be a positive and a negative to the right or to the left, so to speak. And for that, we're going to add positive, negative binding. So click on that one there. Now we've got negative and we've got positive. On the negative, click on that, or double click on that, find the path, and then what should we do here? Well, I'm going to do keyboard and location of key, and then I will look for, I think I'm going to use the arrows. I know Stephen Hubbard likes the WASD and gets a little bit mad when we just use the arrows. You can do whatever you want, my friend. I'm going to do the left arrow. Wait, are we on the positive or the negative? I can't see underneath all these boxes. Oh, we're on the negative. Wait, hang on. Good Lord. Jump back on here. Okay, so we've got our 1D axis, negative. Click on the path. I'm going to click listen, actually, see if it works. Left arrow, yes, it does. Double click on that. Now we've got our left arrow. That's the negative. Click back in my inspector, find positive, double click on that, path, listen, right arrow, click once. You don't need to double click on that actually, click once, and now we've got it. Now for completeness, we could also set this up for the gamepad. Let's do that actually, let's do that just so we've got these double things and you can see how input works. Right click to add binding, the same thing again, and you can see we've got this second one. Here we could even write in our controller. And then on the bindings, and up here, we could click on this once, click on it again, and we could change this to keyboard. If we wanted to, you don't have to. You can see it was working just fine, but renaming it, tidying these things up is often good. So anyway, on controller, and you could do the same up here for thrust, but I won't mess around with that at the moment. Negative, double click. I'm going to find the path, look for gamepad, and then find the, the left stick on a gamepad. Here it is, and the left is for the negative, and then find the positive, double click, path, and let's see, make sure I'm not accidentally on the D-pad. I've done that before. On the right, on the left stick, there we go. The right thing on the left stick. There we go. Okay. Now we've got those things set up. We've created our bindings. Back over into our code. What do we need to do next? We need a way of using that information now that we know what rotation is. It's left or right on the keyboard. For example, with thrust, we're saying thrust.isPressed. IsPressed is not going to work for us. We need to do something slightly different. I'm going to do a little bit of tidy up here. I don't want in my fixed update to have this if statement and then something else all gunking this up. So I'm going to refactor this as a method. If you highlight the code you're interested in, and in Visual Studio Code, you can hit Control full stop or Control period if you're in North America, and then look for, by scrolling down in this area, extract method. And when we do that, it creates the word new method and takes what we had in our method down below and creates a private void new method. And if I double click on new method here, right click and rename symbol or hit F2, that will allow me to rename it in all the places that new method is. So if we put in here process thrust. Thrust or thrusting? Process thrusting. We'll just do process thrust for now. Hit enter. You can see that changed the name in those two places. That was me hitting F2. If you're using an editor that doesn't have these controls, the F2 and the previous one, the extract method, then you can do it the longer way. I'm just trying to show you some shortcuts here. So I've got process thrust and it's popped it down here, doing exactly the same thing, but it's tidied up our fixed update. Now we can create ourselves another method, which is process rotation. Parentheses, semicolon. That doesn't exist yet. So down below my process thrust, I'll give myself a little bit of space and I will create a private void process thrust parentheses. And then I'm looking for my curly braces and we're starting the process of our, sorry, it's not process thrust. What am I doing? I'm crazy. It's process rotation. Rotation. We already got a process thrust, Rick. Calm down. Process rotation is what we've got in there. Now, what do we want to do? Well, in our process thrust, we're saying if thrust is pressed. But here we need to, if you're pointing to the right, you do a thing. If you're pointing to the left, you do a thing. And the way we're going to do this is by using rotation, because that's our binding, that's our input action, dot something. And the something we're going to use is read value, because essentially we want to know, are you positive or are you negative? And that's what we're getting out of this one axis, left to right, positive, negative. We're getting a value from that. So we're going to read the value and we need to tell it what sort of value. Similar to the way using these angle braces here, when we're looking for get component, it's like, okay, what component? We're saying what value? And we're looking for a value that is a float. Parentheses, because this is a method, and semicolon, but that in and of itself is not a statement. That's just a thing. Rotation, read value, float. We want to do something with that. We want to store it somewhere so that we can then use that value. So at the very front here of our rotation.readValue, I'm going to create a variable which is float and call it rotation input equals. So the last part of this, to make sure that it's actually worked, you can see it's grayed out here, which is saying, you're not using it anywhere at the moment. What's going on? Let's make sure that this all works by doing a challenge. Actually, let's do the following. Print to the console the value for how much we are rotating, and then jump into Unity and test that it actually works. So there's your challenge. Pause the video. See you back here shortly. Hopefully, this is all clicking at this stage. We need a debug.log. That's how we print to the console, parentheses. And I'm going to print something out beforehand. Here is our rotation value, and then colon, space. And now I concatenate by using plus, and I put in the variable that I wish to print out, which is our rotation input. Rotation input. You could have just done this whole and I'll put my semicolon down here before I make my next point. There we go, semicolon. You could have just done this whole thing like that. That's just fine. I just wanted to print something to the console as well to show what it is that we were looking at here. So let's save back into Unity, click on the console, click on play, push the right, and we see it's 1, push the left, no, -1, 1, -1, 1, -1. You can see these two numbers are going up as I push to the right. It's the 1 value. I don't have a lot of space here, do we? Let's give ourselves a little bit more space. To the right, and to the left, to the right, and to the left. That means that it's working. That means that our input binding and our key is working to say that when we're pushing to the right, give us a positive number, and we're pushing to the left, give us a negative number. And this is one of those practices I urge you to do when you're creating your own code, particularly something you've not done before, is do the minimum step you can and then just check that it's working by printing something to the console. That's why the console is there. We can say, yes, okay, my binding worked, my number's correct, now I can do something with it. If you go and write all of your code and then it doesn't work, you're looking at it saying, which step of this darn process didn't work? But we know this first step has worked, and that was our goal in this lecture. So there we go, a very simple one. In the next lecture, we will actually move our rocket and spin it around. So I'll see you in the next one.